The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice. You are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast that provides answers to your many health questions. I'm Karen Nickel, family nurse practitioner, and in the last episode of Itchy and Bitchy, I discussed inflammation and what triggers inflammation in your body and how to reduce that inflammation. Today, I want to talk to you with more detail about implementing an anti-inflammatory diet. I am sure that many of you have heard the recommendation to eat an anti-inflammatory diet, especially if you have chronic health problems like heart disease, diabetes, or autoimmune disease. Now we know that inflammation is the driver in most of these chronic illnesses. I'm frequently asked, what is an anti-inflammatory diet? In a nutshell, it's a diet of foods that are in their natural, whole form. It also involves avoiding foods that have been in contact with plastics. The most important way to reduce inflammation through diet changes is to remove processed foods from your diet, especially ones containing preservatives, food flavoring, or food coloring. When we eat these foods, not only do the chemicals trigger inflammation, but they have very little nutritional value. So we tend to eat a higher volume of these foods than foods that are nutritionally dense because our body knows when it's not getting what it needs. Studies have shown that when we eat nutritious foods, we have increased sense of fullness that lasts longer than when we eat processed foods that have low nutritional value. Before I get into the details of what chemicals to avoid and how to avoid them, I would like to give you a brief history of how the use of food additives in the U.S. began. I find it a fascinating story, actually. It wasn't until the 19th century that the microbial cause of food spoilage was understood. However, there is a long history of food preservation methods, including use of salt and smoke to dry and preserve foods. In ancient China, paraffin wax was burnt to ripen fruit. The Egyptians colored their food with saffron, while the Romans added potassium aluminum sulfate to bread to make it more white. Food preservation methods were and are implemented to improve safety by decreasing or eliminating the growth of pathogenic bacteria. If any of you have ever had food poisoning, you will know why preventing bacterial growth in our food is so important. Forrest and I had that lovely experience together a couple years ago, and it is memorable and unpleasant, and there is a good reason to preserve our food appropriately. The use of food additives increased dramatically during the Industrial Revolution, with toxic compounds used liberally in factory food production. These ranged from the coloring of cheese with red lead, yes, red lead, to color our cheese, and to sweets that were colored green using copper arsenite. And this chemical actually was also used in wallpaper back in the day, and that substance in the wallpaper may have contributed to Napoleon's death. So it is a toxic substance, and they were adding it to food. In addition to the use of unregulated additives, food factories were stretching the volume of products by filling them with a variety of things. Spices often contained ground-up coconut shells. Samples of coffee that were tested contained no coffee at all. I don't know exactly what they had, but had no coffee. Whiskey was made from ethyl alcohol, diluted with water, and tinted brown with tobacco extracts, tincture of iodine, burnt sugar, or prune juice. Yummy. It was not a good time in our history to be eating factory processed foods, let's just put it that way. Harvey Washington Wiley, a government chemist who had long been concerned about the newfangled preservatives and colorants being pumped into our food, was the mastermind behind an experiment to determine the effects on people when these chemicals are placed in the food. The experiment began in 1902. At that time, more food products were being made in factories using new and untested chemicals as preservatives without informing the consumer by stating so on the label. So consumers had no idea all this stuff was in their food. Wiley wondered if all those new preservatives, which included borax, salicylic acid, sodium sulfite, sodium benzoate, and formaldehyde, were actually safe for humans, because those were all being used in food products. Until Wiley came along, no one had ever bothered to find out what those additives could do to a human being. And if no one knew the effects of a particular additive, passing legislation to protect consumers would have been pointless. Out of hundreds of applicants, hundreds of people applied to be in this experiment, 12 men were chosen for the experiment designed by Wiley to determine the effects of these chemicals on the human body. They agreed to participate for an entire year and signed documents stating they would not sue the government if they had any side effects, including death. So this experiment would not fly in today's medical world and scientific world. That study would not be approved, I can guarantee you. In the end, the 12 men continued to participate in the experiment for a total of 5 years. And it was discontinued when one of the members passed away due to tuberculosis, which was thought to be caused by a weakened immune system after ingesting the tested chemicals for 5 years. Science writer Deborah Bloom stated the following in her book, The Poison Squad, One Chemist's Single-Minded Crusade for Food Safety at the Turn of the 20th Century. Quote, the 12 members of the exclusive Washington, D.C. dining club sat in high-backed chairs of dark oak, 6 to a table in 3-piece suits and ties. The tables were covered in crisp white linen, though the dining room itself was rather plain with bare white walls. Membership for the 12 included 3 square meals a day. For half of them, it also came with a side of poison, unquote. The participants also received a free place to live. The group of 12 men were dubbed the Poison Squad. Before each meal, they had to weigh themselves, take their temperatures, and check their pulse rates. Samples of stool, urine, hair, and sweat were collected, and they were given weekly physicals. When one member got a haircut without permission, it was alleged that he was instructed to return to the barber and collect the hair from the haircut and bring it back. The additives that were given to the men caused severe headaches and stomach pain. Wiley had to stop the sodium sulfite test halfway through because the volunteers became so ill, and only 3 of his 12 volunteers made it to the end of the sodium benzoate test due to severe side effects. After this quick break, I will tell you if poisoning 12 men was worth it. Can I just tell you that I have knobby knees and bony ankles? And I know you were dying to know that piece of information. And I'm telling you that because when I shave my legs, those are danger zones for me. So I have to execute those areas with a razor very, very carefully. And sometimes I just skip those areas altogether because I cut myself so often. So I have a new razor called Athena Club Razor, and it is designed with a built-in skin guard to help prevent razor burn while being gentle on curves like my bony ankles and my knobby knees. And I'm telling you, when I use my regular razor, I feel that razor blade scraping up my skin. And I know that's probably not right, but that's what happens. And when I first used Athena Club Razor, I didn't feel it at all. I thought, is there a razor blade on this thing? Because it was so smooth, I did not feel the blade at all. The razor blade is surrounded by water-activated serum with shea butter and hyaluronic acid, which is a skincare product that many of you are aware of that's so good for your skin, and it makes the shave so smooth. The best part is the razor kit is only $9. And I don't know about you, but I've spent some big bucks on that razor blade that scrapes up my leg. And it comes with 2 blade heads, a magnetic hook for shower storage, and your choice of handle color. And that magnetic hook, it comes with a peel-off adhesive, peel and stick thing on your shower wall, which I know may not sound important, but I have a textured tile, so suction cups do not go on that thing. But this magnetic holder with a peel and stick thing stays on my shower wall. I'm so happy about that. And the razor comes in 6 different color options. So you may have a little difficulty picking a color, as I did, but I ended up with mint green, which is lovely, and the handle feels lovely. And I did struggle about getting the blue. I really thought about getting the blue because it's beautiful, but I'm super happy with my mint green razor. You will never have to worry about running out of refills or being stuck with a dull, overused razor. You can choose how often you want the replacement blades to be sent to you with free shipping. And that means fresh, ready-to-use razors always arrive right when you need them. Also, if you have not tried shave foam in a while or never tried shave foam, I encourage you to try their Cloud Shave Foam, which will provide a premium shaving experience. Give it a whirl. Show your skin you care with the Athena Club Razor Kit. Sign up today and you'll get 20% off your first order. Just go to athenaclub.com and use promo code ITCHY. That's ATHENACLUB.com with promo code ITCHY for 20% off. Once again, I am talking to you today about eating a healthy, clean diet and how important it is. And I know that a lot of my patients don't know exactly what it means to have a healthy diet, but Green Chef can guide you because they have a meal plan for every healthy lifestyle, including keto, paleo, plant-powered diets, or even if you just want delicious, lovely meals. Green Chef offers 35 nutritious and super flavorful options to choose from every week. And I have a lot of patients who are trying to transition to a plant-based diet and aren't sure exactly how to do it. But with Green Chef, you can take homemade plant-based meals to the next level with their plant-powered options. And all of you carb-conscious people, and there are a lot of you out there, can take advantage of their keto and paleo options, which will give you premium proteins and vital veggies that you need throughout the day. Green Chef is the first USDA certified organic meal kit, so you can enjoy hand-picked organic veggies and premium proteins without having to worry about where they are sourced. And we are talking about that today on this podcast, are we not? And my listeners will know that it's important to me that Green Chef is the most sustainable meal kit, offsetting 100% of their plastic use and 100% of their carbon footprint and emissions. So you can enjoy your greens while being green. Again, on our list this week is blackened bean bowls with dirty rice, and it starts with blackened pinto beans. Alongside rice and beans are a slew of sautéed vegetables and a dash of lime zest. And to top it all off, a homemade salsa is made from tomato and scallion, topped with a creamy Creole Dijonnaise and pecans for crunch. Don't you wish you were joining me for dinner? Sounds so yummy. Go to greenchef.com/itchy130 and use code itchy130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. Go to greenchef.com/itchy130 and use code itchy130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. So, was it worth it to poison 12 men for 5 years? Well, the Poison Squad test results drew national attention to the need for a federal food and drug law, but no government action was taken until 1 million women had written to the White House in support of such a law. The power of 1 million united women finally moved Congress to pass the Pure Food and Drug Act in 1906. So yes, I think 1 million women saved all the trouble for those 12 men getting poisoned. Unfortunately, the new law was very vague. It didn't name a single toxic compound to be regulated and made enforcement against wrongly labeled or adulterated products practically impossible. However, the law was a starting point and paved the way for the creation of the Food and Drug Administration, and Wiley became the first commissioner. Later, the much stronger Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938 was passed. So let's fast forward to 2022 to see where we are with the presence of chemicals in our processed foods. Even though we now have in place a regulatory board for food safety, there are many chemicals that the FDA deems safe for human consumption that have been proven to be harmful. For example, the FDA has approved the use of phthalates. The Center for Science in the Public Interest and the Natural Resources Defense Council, so this is CSPI and the NRDC, petitioned the FDA to rescind approval of 30 currently approved phthalates and bar the use of 8 of them. Fast food is especially dangerous because chemicals can enter food through industrial equipment, and phthalates, used to make plastics more flexible, enter food through conveyor belts and gloves as well as packaging. So this all happens during the production of the food. In June of 2021, a study revealed that people who eat cheeseburgers that are not made at home are getting big doses of phthalates. The study also concluded that teens who ate a lot of fast food and other foods purchased outside the home had 55% higher levels of phthalates in their urine than those who only consumed homemade food. Another chemical that concerns food activist groups is DEHP, diethylhexyl phthalate, which is seen in surface layers of fatty foods like butter, cheese, and prepared meats that are packaged in products containing vinyl. Studies have linked DEHP to the development of type 2 diabetes in adult women, allergies in children, and behavior changes in children. Around the world, countries are implementing regulations to limit exposure to phthalates. Japan banned the use of vinyl gloves for preparing food because the gloves often contain DEHP or DINP. The European Union is also pushing manufacturers to find alternatives to the use of these chemicals. The United States now bans phthalates in toys. Yes, these chemicals were in children's toys. Avoiding plastics is an important practice to maintain optimal health, but doesn't protect you entirely because phthalates can be found in soaps, lotions, and cosmetics. You would have to eliminate using any industrial products to avoid the chemicals found in plastics, but the more you can eliminate, the better. If you have listened to any of my previous podcasts, you know that I recommend avoiding plastic and mineral oil products because they can act like estrogens in your body. Because bisphenols, better known as BPA, can act like estrogen, exposure to them can change when children go into puberty and can promote obesity. BPA is now banned in baby bottles and sippy cups. Aren't we grand? I always recommend to my patients that they avoid heating food in the microwave in plastic containers. When a plastic container is marked quote-unquote microwave safe, you can put it into the microwave and the plastic won't melt, but that doesn't mean it's safe. Heat can make BPA and phthalates leak from the plastic container into your food. In addition to the presence of plastics in our food, other additives, including food coloring, flavoring, and preservatives, have proven to be harmful to our health. 7 artificial flavors that were approved by the FDA in the 1970s and 1980s have been linked to cancer and, in children, severe attention problems. In 2015, the NRDC requested that the FDA ban these artificial flavors. And the FDA actually did follow this recommendation, and the bans went into effect not until October 9th of 2018. But the FDA did not plan on enforcing the rule until October 9th, 2020, to give manufacturers time to reformulate their products. Each of 6 synthetic flavorings has a natural counterpart used to flavor foods that can be used. For example, eugenyl methyl ether is found in basil and pyridine occurs in coffee. These naturally occurring supplements are not affected by the bans, and they can still be extracted from food and used as flavoring agents. The FDA also banned the 7th chemical, styrene, as a synthetic flavoring agent in food. The agency's decision was not based on the fact that styrene is a known carcinogen, but rather because it is no longer used by the food industry. Thank you, FDA. Nitrates and nitrites, which are used in cured and processed meats, have been linked to gastrointestinal and nervous system cancers and may interfere with thyroid hormone production and the body's ability to deliver oxygen to the body. The Mayo Clinic notes that certain food colorings and preservatives may increase hyperactive behavior in some children. In addition to the chemicals I've already reviewed, it is recommended that you avoid foods with these colorings and preservatives. 1. Sodium benzoate, which is commonly found in carbonated beverages, salad dressings, and fruit juice products. Remember, this is one of the substances that Wiley gave to the Poison Squad, and only 3 of 12 participants could complete the testing of this chemical because it made them so ill. Sodium benzoate. Keep that in mind. Yellow number 6, which can be found in breadcrumbs, cereal, candy, icing, and soft drinks. Yellow number 10, which can be found in juices, sorbets, and smoked haddock. I don't know how many people eat smoked haddock, but certainly juices and sorbets are pretty common. Yellow number 5, which can be found in foods like pickles, cereals, granola bars, and yogurt. Red number 40, which can be found in soft drinks, children's medications, gelatin desserts, and ice cream. So I don't know if you're seeing a theme here, but a lot of these things that are colored with these agents are things a lot of children would eat. A lot of juices, ice cream, of course, children's medications. So it's sort of frightening that all of those colorings are in things that our children are more likely to eat. I haven't even touched on high fructose corn syrup yet. The bottom line on that is don't eat anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. Make sure to look at the label. Even items that you think are healthy, like yogurt, can have high fructose corn syrup in it. I have been talking about specific health concerns with the intake of foods containing the chemicals I've discussed, but these additives can also cause general symptoms like fatigue, poor sleep, weight gain, foggy thinking, chronic headaches, chronic bowel symptoms, rashes, worsening allergies, and mood changes. Some or all of these symptoms can occur when the body is inflamed. If you eat foods containing chemicals, you may not notice the cause and effect. Rather, you will have symptoms most of the time, so you can't quite pinpoint what is causing those symptoms. If you are suffering from some or all of the symptoms I just listed, or you just feel bad most of the time, I encourage you to remove all processed foods and drinks from your diet and note the symptoms that improve or relieve. If you look at a food label and you cannot pronounce or recognize the ingredients, don't buy it and don't eat it. For instance, if you have to have a processed snack food, something like organic kettle brand potato chips ingredients list includes organic potatoes, organic sunflower oil, and sea salt. All of these items we recognize and can pronounce, and there are only 3 ingredients in the product. The fewer the ingredients, the better. Cheetos, on the other hand, contains enriched cornmeal, vegetable oil, cheese seasoning, whatever that is, canola oil, maltodextrin, natural and artificial flavors, whatever those are, salt, whey protein concentrate, monosodium glutamate, lactic acid, citric acid, artificial color, specifically yellow number 6, and salt. So, when you look at that list of things, do your body a favor and don't put that in your body. The ways to reduce your intake of food additives include reading ingredient labels, as I just described. Compare products while at the grocery store, just as I compared kettle chips to Cheetos. Also, many manufacturers are making comparable products with fewer food additives. Identify hidden sources of food additives such as silicon dioxide in spices or polysorbate 80 in dairy products. So look at the label. If you think it's just a carton of milk, look and just see ingredients, milk. Does it say milk or does it say milk and polysorbate 80? Decrease the intake of processed foods, as I've been talking about. So choose fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, and animal products with minimal or no processing. Make dishes from scratch when feasible to control which ingredients are incorporated into your food. Stay away from processed meats, especially during pregnancy. Try to eat locally. Farmers markets or community-supported agriculture are a wonderful way to reduce food additives, not only by choosing fresh fruits and vegetables, but also in local canned and bottled products too. If you're not sure where to find a farmer's market in your area, you can go to the National Farmers Market Directory. So that's NFMD. National Farmers Market Directory, nfmd.org, and just type in your zip code to find farmers markets that are near you. Try to make some simple swaps in your food, like make air-popped popcorn in place of microwave popcorn. Swap block cheese for the shredded cheese. The shredded cheese, they have to put chemicals on it to keep the shredded cheese separated. Choose butter instead of margarine. Use maple syrup or honey in place of pancake syrup, which contains high fructose corn syrup. Incorporate fresh herbs and spices instead of marinades and sauces. So flavor your foods with whole foods, like spices and herbs. Choose plain chips and crackers more often than flavored options. So again, like the kettle chips and the Cheetos, the difference between those two. Swap plain yogurt for flavored varieties and add whole food toppings like fresh fruit and honey. Just add your own whole food toppings. Make your own salad dressings, dips, or taco seasoning. Again, these are I know this takes extra time, but if you eat this way, you'll have more energy, so you might feel like you have more time to do all this. Use fresh citrus or herbs to flavor sparkling water. Use natural ingredients to decorate your cookies next holiday season. For instance, use beet juice or beet powder for red icing, or wheatgrass juice or matcha powder for green icing. So just get creative and find healthy ways to brighten up your food, like icing for cookies. The American Academy of Pediatrics also recommends that you avoid plastics unless they're labeled bio-based or greenware. Both of those are not made from petroleum products, but typically greenware is compostable, and bio-based products are not necessarily compostable or biodegradable. Don't microwave food or beverages, including infant formula and pumped human milk. Don't heat up your baby's food in plastic in the microwave. Also, avoid putting plastics in the dishwasher. Replace your plastic storage containers with glass containers. Also, they recommend that you wash your hands thoroughly before and after touching food and clean all fruits and vegetables that cannot be peeled, because unless you're eating all organic, there are going to be chemicals on those peels. Again, if you don't have the energy you would like to have, or you have poor sleep, difficulty losing weight, or just don't feel as well as you think you should, I urge you to start an anti-inflammatory diet. I feel sure that you will experience an improved sense of wellness. Please visit our Facebook page, I&B Podcast, where you can leave more comments or questions. Our website is itchyandbitchy.com. Many thanks to Green Chef and Athena Club for sponsoring today's episode. As always, thanks to Forrest Wenzel, our producer and composer of our theme music. Again, he has released an album called An Awful Lot. Make sure to go wherever you stream your favorite music to listen. If you don't know where to stream music, you can find the album on Apple Music or Spotify. As always, remember that your health is in your hands.